Hello everyone, this is Jay from Bro Gaming TCG, and today we are back with another Road to Worlds episode. This one has some pretty epic gameplay here. It is my Golduck Alolan Ninetales deck versus an Alolan Ninetales GX deck that has, I believe, Zorok in it and a couple other things. Anyways, I'm going to allow you guys to watch this gameplay. I'm not really going to explain it too much because there has been tons of information leaked out, and I want to kind of go over it. The first thing that I want to go over is the new Luxray and Volkner from Sun and Moon 5. Now, you guys probably already know about this, but here we go. Anyways, a new Luxray and Volkner support will appear in the newest set, Ultra Prism, and they are going to be epic electric type supporters. Now, one of my favorite Pokemon is Raichu, and I've always wanted Raichu to be very good, and actually with this Raichu GX that we have, Raichu could possibly be a tier 2 deck if it gets some support. So anyways, moving on to the card Luxray. It has 150 HP. Obviously, it's a stage 2 Pokemon, and it evolves from a Luxio, meaning that we are going to get a Luxio and a Shinx in the set as well. Now, I'm saying that neither one of them will probably not have an ability, considering that its stage 2 form has an ability Intimidating Fang. As long as this Pokemon is your active Pokemon, any damage done to this Pokemon by an opponent's attack is reduced by 30. Not really a spectacular ability, but an ability that can be used kind of as a damage buffer. It kind of gives it, instead of having 150 HP, it kind of gives it 180 HP, which is actually pretty high for a stage 2 Pokemon. So let's look at its attack here. Voltage Arrow. 2 lightning energy and a colorless energy. Discard all lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. This attack does 150 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. Now, this is really kind of interesting, and something I could actually see paired with like Honchkrow or something else that does a lot of damage based on bench damage, or does damage kind of like a Decidueye or something like that. But once again, it's kind of a bad attack in my opinion, so I really don't think it's going to be played too awfully much. But looking at its weakness, it's a fighting weakness and a metal resistance, meaning that versus the few metal type decks that we have in the format, it's going to be a little bit better, and versus the few fighting type decks we have in the format, it's going to be a little bit worse. So overall, I don't really think Luxray is going to get too much play. It might get some play in budget deck here and there, but other than that, not really too much. Now, moving on to Volkner. This is kind of a different story though. So obviously it's a supporter type card. Search your deck for an item card and a lightning energy. Reveal them and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You may only play one supporter card during your turn before you attack. Now, Volkner is the 8th Soin gym leader, if you guys don't know, and his signature type is the electric type. So it's really cool to see if the other gym leaders from Soin will be coming to the TCG, because we already know that we are getting the 3 starters from the Soin in the TCG, and most likely those will be GXs. So, but looking at Volkner and kind of what it's going to be able to do for the format, this is going to be awesome for that Raichu GX deck that I was talking about. You know, being able to add a lightning energy to your hand and an item card is very good, because not only now can you add lightning energy to your hand, you could add something like a energy retrieval, being able to put 3 energy onto the Raichu very easily. Plus you have, if you have Magnezone down. So I think Volkner has a little bit more viability in the standard format as of right now with lightning type decks. But also, we don't really know too much what we're getting from the Sun and Moon, from this Sun and Moon 5 set, Ultra Prism. But what we do know is that we are getting the first look at the 2 Prism cards that I want to go over as well today, which are going to be Lunala and Solgaleo. Now, obviously, they were going to be Prism cards because of the fact that it's Sun and Moon, and Lunala and Solgaleo are the 2 legendary Pokemon. So Prism cards If you don't know the Prism rule, here it is. You can't have more than one Prism Star card with the same name in your deck, kind of like A-Spec cards. If a Prism Star card is discarded, put it in the lost zone. So if you discard this, I'm going to say it's most likely out of the game completely. That's kind of what the lost zone does. You can't really get it back. So its first attack, well, its HP is 160. It's a basic Pokemon, so that is good. So its first attack for 1 Psychic Energy is Full Moon Star. For each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, attach a Psychic Energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Very, very, very situational attack because you have to have a lot of energy in the discard pile. So basically, if your opponent has 3 Pokemon in play, you get 3 energy, psychic energy from the discard pile, 4, 5, and 6. So you can get up to 6 energy if you have 6 energy in the discard pile to be able to put on your Pokemon in any way you like. Very, very good attack. I'm not discounting it at all. It's going to be a very, very useful attack with the ability to speed up decks. And with that, its second attack for 4 Psychic Energy, Psy Storm, goes very well with it. 20 times damage. This attack does 20 times the amount of energy attached to all Pokemon in play. So if you have managed to have 4 energy onto this, that means it's at least doing 80 damage. And on top of that, if you used Full Moon Star to grab basically all of the energy you had in your discard pile out of your discard pile, and your opponent is going to at least have a few energy out on the field, it is going to do a pretty much a one-hit KO, possibly ending the game. Now, something that I would like to say about these Prism Stars is that they are not GX Pokemon, and it does not state that you pick up 2 prize cards when you KO one. So that is something to know. Now, moving on to the next Prism Star Pokemon, Solgaleo. Alright, Solgaleo is a little bit different here. So let's look at its HP first. It's got 160, just like Lunala. It is also a basic Pokemon. So it's weak to fire and resistant to lightning, psychic due to its metal typing. So, Prism Star rule obviously is the same as Lunala. You can only have 1 Prism Star card with the same name in your deck. If a Prism Star card is discarded, put it in the lost zone. So, that's also something to state that I didn't state with Lunala. You can only have 1 Prism Star card in your deck with the same name. So you can have multiple Prism Star cards, you just can't have more than 1 with the same name. A little bit different than A-Spec. So, its first attack, Rising Star, for 1 Metal Energy. For each of your opponent's Pokemon in play, attach a Metal Energy from your discard pile to your Pokemon in any way you like. Pretty much the same attack as Lunala's first attack, except with Metal Energy instead. So, its second attack also cost 4 energy like Lunala's, but 4 Metal Energy, and its Corona Impact, 160 damage, and this Pokemon can't attack during your next turn. Solgaleo, I would say, is quite worse than Lunala, but I would say it has its benefits. Because it is grabbing from the discard pile, it is going to work great with the Solgaleo GX, and even it will be able to speed up Metagross decks as well. So playing this card in Solgaleo Metagross is going to be good, using it for its first attack only, because most likely the Corona Impact is not going to be used because of its effect that you can't attack during your next turn. So that is basically all I have to say about that card. What I am going to talk about next here for the a little bit of the remainder of this video is the Soin starters, and are we going to be seeing Soin GXs? So we already know that we're getting a Volkner supporter, we already know that we're getting a Luxray line, and we already know that we are getting the starters out of the Sun and Moon 5 set, which basically all but confirms the fact that Diamond and Pearl remakes are on the horizon. So, the TCG is kind of giving us a few hints here and there. So, let's take a look at these. So, first we have a Turtwig, a Grass 80 HP, basic Pokemon. Its tackle attack is worth 2 colorless, and it does 20 damage, and then it has Razor Leaf, which is 50 damage, 2 grass, 1 colorless. Very odd to see that you have a double colorless attack on a basic Pokemon, such as a starter. And it's kind of odd that it also has 80 HP, very high for a starting basic Pokemon that it evolves. So I could see its final evolution to be very, very high in HP, possibly could be 240. I would like to see that Tortuga not has a high HP because in the games it has a high defense and HP stat. So that would be really cool. Also, theorizing about its GX move, I would say its GX move will probably have something to do with attacking a large variety of Pokemon, or either reducing some type of damage. So it will be very, very cool to see that one. That is probably one of my favorite final evolutions from the Soin, with Empoleon being my second favorite, and then Infernape being the third favorite here. But moving on, speaking of Infernape, we are talking about Chimchar here. It only has one attack for a colorless energy. Fury swipes 10 damage times the number of coins you flip heads. So, and you get the flip 3 coins. So its max damage is going to be 30. Not a great first attack, but something that hopefully can be evolved into. Infernape is something that something that could really be good if they want to make it really good. We haven't seen too many Infernape cards in the TCG over the time that Diamond and Pearl was standard, but and none of those cards were really something of like that broke the meta. But I think that we could see some definite good things come from Infernape GX, considering that if we get a good Infernape GX card, it's going to put a lot of hype in the player, I guess, in the community, because Infernape is a well-liked starter, kind of like Charizard. Alright, so moving on to Piplup here. It is the water starter with 70 HP. It has a colorless attack, which is Peck. It does 10 damage, and then a water colorless Splash, which does 20 damage. Now, Piplup is extraordinarily cute in this, and it actually even has an alternate art for this set, which may be a promo, possibly, which does Water Gun. This attack does 20 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon. It's much, much better than the first one, I think. So most people will probably be using the Piplup with Water Gun. Anyways, for my theory about Empoleon, I believe it's going to be probably, since it's a water metal type Pokemon, it could be very well used in combination with Metagross, or I think that it could be used, have an energy acceleration attack because of its speed in the water. But really, I can't make too many predictions because of the fact that it is very much a toss-up here. But something very interesting that was released alongside these is the new energy cards that we have. So going over these very, very quickly, you have Unit Energy, which is a grass Unit Energy GRW. It's a special energy, and it states this card provides colorless energy when attached to a Pokemon. This card provides grass, red, or water energy, but provides only one energy at a time. So basically, you can attach this to a Pokemon, and it is going to provide one of the three energies. And we have the same card, Unit Energy LPM. This card provides colorless energy when this card is attached to a Pokemon. This card provides lightning, psychic, or metal energy, but provides only one energy at a time, which is very, very cool, because now we have special energy to be using in decks that have two typings, such as a water and grass deck, or a water and fire deck, or a metal and psychic deck, or a metal and electric deck, which kind of opens up some new possibilities for deck typings, and for this set to include different abilities that work well together. Anyways, this video is coming to a little bit of a close, so I'd like to talk about the game. I hope you guys have been enjoying the game here. Obviously, all of the cards that I went over are going to be in the description with their name and their HP and their abilities and all their weaknesses and stuff. So go check the description if you want to know those cards. Also, a link to Poke Beach will be in the description as well, and you can find every single one of these articles that I'm getting this from the website, so you can go on and look at the card arts and stuff like that, which is going to be very, very cool. So, looking at the game, I believe we are basically at 2-2. This was actually a pretty close game. I have one Golduck out, a Psyduck, and an Alola Ninetales, and I believe at this time I was thinking to myself, this is getting very, very close. And I did not expect this game to be close at all. I actually expected to lose this game because of how I started out. But basically, I'm trying to figure out a way to take this KO real quick, because he's only got basically GX Pokemon. He's got quite a few Pokemon with damage on it, but the only one that I know I can knock out is that Alola Ninetales. So I have two Guzmas in my hand, but unfortunately I have no idea that if I Guzma and put out my Golduck, I'm not going to be able to Guzma something out and have energy to get it to be able to use it. So I'm trying to use my Alolan Ninetales to knock out his Alolan Ninetales. But the only problem is that I run out of time, which is kind of unfortunate, because I don't really think I could have been able to knock out his Alolan Ninetales GX that turn. I would have probably pulled out one of his Zoroarks, because that's kind of what I was leaning towards, was pulling out a Zoroark and trying to get 2 hits with my Alolan Ninetales on that, which would have been a lot more risky than what ended up happening, because I was feeling, okay, well, maybe I can just go for the win, for the deck out win, because he did not have very many cards, and he had 1 card in his deck left. But he was able to end that last turn and get 4 cards back in his deck. So I'm just going to go ahead and Sycamore here to try and see what I am able to get. And I actually draw into a Timer Ball here. And as I'm sitting here thinking and not seeing the Timer Ball that's in my hand, I go ahead and play Brooklet Hill. I use Brooklet Hill just to see what's in my deck. And I know that I don't have any energy in my deck. I know that I don't have any cards that can possibly do anything in my deck. And then finally I realize, wait a second, I saw Golduck in there. If I get 1 heads, I can win this game. And I got the 1 heads, and I'm able to get Golduck and evolve and free retreat into my Alolan Ninetales, and then grab the hyper transfer off of Golduck to Alolan Ninetales, and I give him a green face with a heart and then a well played, because he did deserve a well played, because it was a very well played game. He did try his best, never surrendered throughout the entire thing. Anyways, guys, this has been a very good game. I want to thank you all for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe. This has been Jay from Bro Gaming TCG. Thanks for watching.